Hi, Marv.
Hi, Kelly.
How are you doing this month as we record on the day before this really big full moon?
Is it the day before?
Well, the podcast will come
Damn
out.
sure is.
Yeah, the podcast will come out on the day of the Taurus full moon. And I have been feeling it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Is it?
Yeah, the way the new moon starts is it's harder for, um, when we started this, it was easy to record at the beginning of the month because the new moon was near the beginning of the month. And now the new moon is closer to the end of the month and has crossed that line. So it's more of understanding on a monthly basis. But I mean, and what I try to do is tell you what you're working on from the new moon that happened, like Libra new moon was on the 21st.
Okay.
So we didn't get to the new moon yet. Um, but so we've had 2 weeks of the new moon. Um, and so that's what we've been working on the last 2 weeks. But you have to understand the new moon is the energy of the month. And so yes, the full moon comes out, but what the full moon is showing you is what the energy you've been working on is now elucidated. It's now become clear and it's out into the public.
Okay.
So that's the way the cycle works. And one of the reasons that I left the eclipse in there is because I still wanted to go back and remind people, because I don't think we make enough understanding of that when you say we had an eclipse. Well, it's a 6-month energy. And so when I saw what I had written and the main words were recognizing the worldly conditions, um, and maintaining one's inner purpose footing. Well, that's going to be exactly what we're going to be talking about today, and maintain the focus in the midst of chaos. Well, that's a 6-month process,
Mm.
and so I think that's important to be constantly reminded of that, or not constantly, but every now and then, be reminded of that we are under the eclipse, and one of the strongest points in a chart is the eclipse point. So when I looked at the new moon in Libra, look at my first statement there is reach an entirely new level of consciousness. How many months have I been banging on that?
A lot. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to bang on it even harder. And I'm going to tell you why. We have got to see through the collective delusions and demand for a radical restructuring of society. So, I've come to an understanding, um, I think too much emphasis has been placed on one man. And I think that he is the perfect man for the job that needs to be done for this social structure in society. And that's how I can eliminate getting caught up in all the news media and the coverage and all of that stuff and the things that he does and says,
Hmm.
because he's not even important. It's a much, much bigger, and I'm going to get into telling you why.
Okay.
Um, so we need to understand that the relationships that we are in are an exact mirror of who we are. And we don't place enough importance on that. And in a Libra new moon, that's pretty daggone important because there is no greater relationship than Libra. It is what Libra is. It is relationships. Now, the energy pattern that we had this month was a square from Pluto Jupiter to that new moon. Well, Pluto is transformation. It's transformation, and it transmutes our ego that is connected to old past patterns, fears, guilt, and self sabotage of the past. Jupiter is the expansion process. And it's the outer growth and the manifestation of abundance. But before we get to that manifestation in abundance, we have to come clear with our fears, guilts, doubts, shames, and judgments. And that's the relationship that's so very important. And of course, as we look at the new moon, look what I say. It's the evolution of consciousness. Now, I've already mentioned that twice. And the energy pattern, and this is the big deal for the whole month, and it's going to be the big deal for the next 5 months,
Okay.
is Saturn conjuncts Neptune at the last degrees of Pisces. So let's explain that a second. Saturn is your structure of reality on the macrocosm and the microcosm, how you have structured your life, how you build your life and your reality is Saturn. That is the foundation and the physical reality of form. Well, Neptune is the spiritual reality of universal consciousness where everything is possible. Neptune is imagination, it's delusion, it's a fog, it is the antithesis of structure reality.
Okay.
They are conjunct, and they will be conjunct all the way until March. Now, what does this mean in the larger context? I tell you, we have got to get to the place to where we trust nothing. You might as well get in your mind beliefs that you have held, beliefs that is being projected out into the world are all lies. There is nothing to believe. You do not know, nor do you see all the workings that's going on behind the scenes.
Well, I do think that people are starting to kind of recognize that, right? Like that's the big thing you see on social media nowadays is nobody trusts anything that anyone is saying. The government, the news, there's all these conspiracy theories. And for me, it's started to really open my brain up to that. So it sounds like right on time as per usual, but I think we are seeing there's a lot going on secretly, or all these people are being exposed for bad behavior that we haven't known about in the past when they became very successful or things like that. And it just seems to be happening over and over and over. It's like an uncovering is the word that keeps coming into my brain.
Well, but you can't even consider the uncovering as being factual. So
Okay.
that's kind of what I'm saying. There are no facts. Get rid of the concept of facts in your mind that forge a belief. There's nothing to believe.
Then what do we
Beliefs
wake
are
up every
something
day
that you're
and
making
do?
up.
That like
You
if you
wake up
can't,
every day. Yeah, here we go again. Back into consciousness of one moment at a time and listening to intuition and feelings. If you are not defining your life by feelings and intuition, well, then you're not living in the moment. And we are all raising consciousness. I tell you what I've noticed on the TikTok
what's
is
that?
that more awakened people are putting out information that is very, very good. And it's more of them. I mean, I'm literally stunned. I used to have to be part of a conference of metaphysics and all of that stuff to get that kind of abundance of people that were working on a higher level of consciousness. And it's now that is shifting. And so when you take that shifting is that's a wake up call in and of itself
Well,
of
the other
raising a level of consciousness.
yes and no, because I mean, I agree with you, yes. But I think to your point, actually, about not believing anything, the interesting thing for me has been over the past couple years, I would say that I feel like I've been on a spiritual journey for a while, and I have noticed over the past couple of years the rise of somewhat, I mean, maybe you could call it the guru, the expert, all these things, talking more about these spiritual concepts. But I think it's been interesting the last, maybe this has been 6 months to a year. I have even found myself feeling very fed up with certain voices or narratives or people speaking out because there's this whole other thing happening where they're becoming the person that's worshiped. And I'm like, that's so contradictory of anything spiritual or of the things that they're trying to teach. And so it's this really weird, like, back and forth of what can you trust? What can you learn from, avenues like that? And then what do we need to step back from and really use discernment on about giving our energy over into like idolizing another human, if does that make sense? Like, do you
Oh,
see where I'm bumping up
totally.
against a little bit? Like, I'm
Well, you
almost
should
fed
never
up
be
with this.
idolizing another human,
No, but I
ever.
do feel like that's kind of what gets
Well,
brought to the surface.
I'll take it a step further. You
Okay.
listening to other people's opinions and conversations.
Well, yeah, because that's the other thing I'm getting fed up with. It's like there really is no one size fits all in this world. Like every single
No.
human is here on their own specific journey. So, how are we going to try to tell someone how to go live their life? You can't map it out for anyone else. You can help, help people find their path, but it's their path still.
As long as they're asking you for help.
And if they're asking you, right, exactly.
Only if they're asking you.
Yeah, because a lot of times we're just like offering it
Yeah.
up, and that's really your own
The
judgment.
moment you offer up a conversation is when you start getting yourself in trouble.
Well, it's just your ego.
You have to
then.
be asked.
Yeah.
And so, and that's going to take us segue right into the next things that I want to talk about.
Okay.
I mean, not only do you have to separate the wheat from the shaft as far as seeing things and seeing reality as you see it and staying in the moment, because it's building individuality, which builds consciousness, your consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
I always go back to Krishnamurti, who said, transformation starts with one. You have to understand, and as we've gotten into quantum theory, you have to understand you, Kelly, your individual influence and vibration. It changes the whole structure of the world.
Mm.
Just think of that. And every person is like that. But we need individual Kelly. We don't need Kelly that's been misled, misconstrued, conditioned, and programmed by anybody else.
Right.
Because we've lost Kelly.
Right.
That's what I call soul fragmentation in my book.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to lose Kelly. I want Kelly. And so this is very important because we got a Pluto, Jupiter, T-squaring Venus at the full moon, which means lessons around relationships, fairness, values, and self-worth, and discovering personal limitations, and then go beyond. So in other words, we're reading who we are through our relationships to other people, and then we move beyond them by changing our conditioning and programming and belief in ourselves. And so we lessen that whole fragmentation process.
Mm.
When you have a Uranus opposing Mercury and Mars, now we've got constructive action rather than rebellion or verbal confrontation. So we certainly are going to be facing that over the next couple of weeks. So you're going to be challenged.
Mm-hmm.
And how wonderful is that going to be when you got a Mercury retrograde that's coming up in a few days and a Jupiter retrograde that's coming up in a few days?
I don't think I knew about the Jupiter retrograde. What does that
Right.
mean? What does that mean?
And that's a bigger deal than Mercury. Trust me.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Why is
because
that?
Jupiter is higher consciousness, and it's freedom, and it's a It's your intuition. It's
Mm,
how we tap into that higher consciousness. Here we go with consciousness again. And so when we looking at this Mercury retrograde, it's the excitement and fun of one's life versus allowing disasters to suppress your passions. You start getting into the macrocosm and thinking of all the chaos and all the crap that's going on. Well, that can certainly suppress your passions. That can
Wait,
suppress your enjoyment of life.
I have a question. So, are you saying that there's a theme to this specific Mercury retrograde that's about finding excitement and fun in one's life and
Yep.
allowing disaster and to
Yep.
stop allowing disasters to suppress our passions?
Well, think about it. It's in Sagittarius. What is the most fun loving,
For sure,
last
Sag.
in the
Yeah.
party, hanging off the highware, screaming with a drink in their hand in one hand,
Yeah.
than Sagittarius?
No, for sure.
Okay.
So the
That's
reflection
what
and review,
Sagittarius is. And
let's
so
well, let's break
we've
this
got
down
to,
for the listeners though before you move on because Mercury retrograde comes for us to pause and review typically. Like it gets such a bad rap in pop astrology and so we try to talk about that here on this podcast, which is that it's really a time for review and it often involves like our communication, um technology, things like that because it's Mercury, right? Is that right?
yes.
Okay. So then this specific one is asking us to review where in our life are we not allowing ourselves to find excitement and allowing disasters to suppress our passions.
And the ending comes when Mercury goes direct.
Okay.
That's what we need to learn. And what do we need to learn? Follow the impulses of the moment. Quit
Hmm.
following the conditioning and the patterning of what looked like fun. So you're repeating it. I guess
Mm.
that's the best way for me to say it.
That's a great way to say it. So it's like, is it really lighting you up or have you just been doing it so long that it's habit? And like you
Cool.
convinced yourself that's fun, but like, is it really fun
Yeah.
for you? Are you
Yeah.
really enjoying yourself?
And
Yeah.
what and then the follow up to that is tuning out the expectations of others. In other words, a great metaphor for this Mercury retrograde is cocktail party exchanges.
Ugh, small
What does
talk.
that say to you?
Small talk. That's all.
Small
That's all I
talk.
heard, and I can't do it
I'm not
anymore.
getting into no
Me
heavy stuff,
either.
anybody.
I don't care to either. It's gotten so much harder for me as I've gotten older. I just don't care to do it.
And as you've gotten wiser, sweetie,
Mm,
that's not older. That's God, you've gotten wiser
mm,
and you're following a more intuitive spiritual track, which makes you a little more lonelier because you have less people to speak to.
yeah.
So you have to, have small talk. But at this point, and when as soon as I get to Jupiter retrograde in a moment, you'll understand why.
Okay.
So you've got to let me understand the divine order behind all things. That's the final message to Mercury retrograde. The understanding there's always a divine
Mm,
order to things. So why judge it? Why criticize it? Why form a belief out of it?
yeah.
It just is what it
It
is.
just is. I was going to say the same thing. Yeah.
Okay. And so cocktail party communications. And then when we go into the Jupiter retrograde, the answer is diplomatic conversations. Well, have you ever heard a reality come out of a diplomat's mouth?
No, I'm very confused
No.
by these notes, if I'm being honest.
So when you're looking at Jupiter retrograde, when I go to Jupiter retrograde for people, the first sentence is learning to unlearn beliefs, philosophies you've ever been a part of or believed in, and deal only with reality with the natural intuitive focus. I don't know how to say it any better than that.
Well, I didn't understand that. So could you say it again? Say it one more time. Read it one more time. I want to see if I can get it or ask the right question.
learning to unlearn
Mm-hmm.
beliefs, philosophies you've ever been a part of or believed in, and deal only with the reality from natural, intuitive focus and voice.
So it's what you were saying at the beginning of the podcast.
It's constant. It's
Got
a
it.
repeated theme this whole month.
Got it.
It's about higher consciousness. And you know, I've been hollering about this, or I've been talking about this.
I mean, we could call it a holler. That feels right.
I mean, I'm just passionate about trying to get a message across. That's a better way to say it.
Okay.
So, I mean, and so that's the point. It's balancing social stability with individual freedom. I just got off with a Zoom with my last client. It's about individuality.
Mm-hmm.
It's about individuality. You are on your own. Your beliefs, your reality, everything is about you. That's what's important to understand. And so when I looked at the chart of the Jupiter retrograde, it's got a Uranus squares the moon. So your fluctuating moods, and everybody's fluctuating moods, especially politicians and everybody else that operate off of a whim, or say things out of a whim, or just say things off the cuff. These things cause confusion. So stay out of the moodiness. I mean, that's like, partnerships getting in bad moods. And you go, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just in a bad mood. And tell me that don't interfere with your energy and the influence of your vibration. Certainly it does.
Right. So what are you saying to do? Because I feel like there was something at the beginning of the podcast where you said to really lean into like the feelings and to act out of that place and to act out of the place. I'm trying to find where it was, but living moment to moment. So now what you're saying is confusing me because I feel like it's contradicting
it doesn't need to confuse you, because what I'm telling you to do is stay out of the emotions. When somebody operates from a mood, that causes an emotion. That's not a feeling. When somebody else's moods and fluctuating circumstances and things they say, that very much can influence your mood.
So we're back to this same argument about feelings and
it's not an argument. That's just the way it is.
Well, I'm just saying that the reason I'm getting confused is the same. We've already had this discussion, so we don't need to have it again. But so I don't get that at all. Like to me, when you say feelings and emotions, and we've already had this conversation, but they're like this. And so I'm getting confused on what are we supposed to use?
Feelings are not like this. Feelings are moment to moment. You feel it through the physical senses. That's it.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying when I do this up and down. It's moment to moment. So they change. So
because life is changing.
Yeah.
But see, you don't have to be in an emotion every moment. Emotion is caused by an outside circumstance that you either connect to or you don't.
I guess I'm confused
all that's saying is,
but how are we supposed to, like, I think to pay attention to ourselves intuitively, moment to moment, is a confusing message in contrast to, but don't act out of what you're feeling moment to moment. Does that make sense where I'm confused?
Well, I'm not sure. You confused me.
Well, cheers to that. We're all just sitting here fucking confused.
You wanted to do that. You did it on purpose.
No, that's what's happening in my brain. I feel like those are contradicting messages. Like, do we act out of what we feel moment to moment? Do we trust that? Or do we sit back and let it pass?
No, because if you act out, that's an emotion. You act out because you're in love with someone, don't you?
I don't know if I get it.
What do you mean you don't get it? Of
Okay,
course. You love someone. It's an emotion. It fills you up.
do
Body
anger. That's
up.
an easier one. So if someone cuts me off in when I'm driving, it makes me mad.
Right?
So if
That's
I
an emotion.
right, if where the way I'm interpreting this, the last thing you said is don't, go road rage and go hit their car with my car or something. Like don't act out of that place. But in the place earlier, I'm confusing the two messages because what you said earlier was to go moment to moment with how we feel intuitively, like
Right. So
in
let me
our
let me take that analogy. Somebody cuts you off.
yeah.
You get a moment of rage. You want to run them over with a tank,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go, you know what? I've done the same thing. It's all right. I give him a break. And then
Got it.
the emotion settles back down. You
Okay.
get back into center. So
You
in
know what
other
I
words,
do
it's
actually?
always come back into center.
Got it. The thing I do in road rage, just for anyone who may struggle with that, or when you get pissed at people, is I always go, okay, like if I got stopped or someone cut me off and I had to slow down, what is the universe telling me? Like, why do I need to slow down? There's something like, am I in touch with myself or am I just driving down the road, not paying attention to anything? Like that sounds kind of woo woo, but there's always a lesson in every single thing that happens. Like if we're stuck in traffic, be in traffic. That's like the
I could not say that better, Kelly.
really?
That is perfect.
Okay. Well,
That's perfect. You see, that doesn't require an emotion. It doesn't require an action. Emotion
well, it's
requires an action.
yeah.
Feelings do not require actions.
Okay.
That might even be the best way to think about it.
Mhm.
So you get back down into your feelings, you start using a higher level of consciousness to
Mhm.
say, you know, this is happening for a reason. Let me
Right.
start focusing on what's going on right now. Maybe I'm not focusing on the road like I should.
Right.
See, now you're using there's a value in that feeling in the moment, and you're creating a higher level of consciousness of how you want to experience it
Mm.
versus getting all up into the rage and getting angry, which now takes you out of any ability at all to be able to process the information as uh, what is this trying to teach me and show me?
Yeah.
See,
I mean,
that's a huge, huge difference.
okay. Yeah, I do see that. I mean, so I guess it's almost like when we're just acting out of the emotions, like the feeling, maybe it's like you can acknowledge that you feel angry, like that pissed me off. I wish they wouldn't have done that, whatever. Then, like, you can say, like what you said, well, maybe they're having, I don't know, we all make mistakes, whatever. Why is this happening right now? There's always a reason.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. That's
Okay.
exactly right.
Okay. I get
And
it now.
so that's what this Jupiter is all about, digesting facts and rebelling against power structures with humor.
Mm.
See, I think humor is one of what is Jupiter retrograde trying to teach us? Humor. Just make everything, it's just funny.
Oh, I've been laughing a lot at the state of our
I, I laugh
I
every
don't have
day.
anything else to do at this point. I'm just like, here we are.
Yeah.
The internet is funny sometimes.
Yes, it is. And so we get into the Scorpio at on November the 20th at 29 degrees. This is the courage to stand up for what you believe in,
Mm.
even when it's risky and unpopular. But what I'm saying and what I've said all up to this point is you don't have to share it. When I talked earlier to a client, I said, you know what just popped in my mind is don't cast pearls before swine.
What's
Know
that?
who you're talking to.
Oh, right.
Know who you're talking to and what you can share and can't share.
Hmm.
And don't share your creativity and don't share things that um, go into a rabbit hole that you have to describe why you think what you think.
Mm.
There's no point in that. I read an article today about the most intelligent people just shut up and do not defend or describe what they're thinking and responding to a conversation that doesn't line up with them.
Oh my
There's nothing to
God.
say.
You just described all my past relationships and the reason that my relationship now is so much more peaceful for me. But
Yeah.
you have to, like, for instance, for the listeners, what Marv just said, it's the perfect way for me to describe that. I like heard every ex-boyfriend argument that I was always having, trying to like, I've said this on the podcast before. I thought if I just say this in the another way, if I just say it better, if I just say it at a different time of day, if I just say it when they're sitting down, not standing up, when the sky is blue and not, like all of the different things, it didn't matter. It was the audience. They were never gonna hear it ever. So it didn't matter how I said it, what I was saying, when I said it, the tone of voice. They weren't gonna get it because we weren't aligned. And that was the biggest gift to me now is I don't waste my energy defending, like you said, or explaining anything to anyone who is determined to misunderstand me. Like that is just, we're not, that's too much energy. Just
Yeah,
why would
because
we
you know
even do
why?
it?
All it is all it is trying to solicit validation for the way we are.
Yeah.
How can I validate me by communicating to somebody else and getting them to agree with me? Shit, that's a religion.
Mm.
I don't
Mine
need
was
that.
always like trying to get them to see the pain they were causing me. And it's like, they don't
Oh,
care.
yeah. Right.
They don't care because it's all about them.
Yeah, they didn't care, so it even caused more pain.
Exactly. Until I could finally just accept it. Hmm.
And so this Scorpio new moon is about walk your own path. Learn to handle challenges without bitterness. Perfect. I think you described it earlier. This
Hmm.
happened for a reason. Let me learn from it. God, can you imagine how if you live your life like that with every relationship you meet, how easy and simple it would be?
It's almost like taking your power back in some weird way. Like it's very empowering to live that way because there's just, if we are
And
letting,
that's not a weird way, Kelly.
well, I mean,
It's a
it's just,
wonderful way.
yeah, it's a wonderful way, but it's just when so many external factors are coming at us at all times, if they're all capable of rocking us, like even when you're sitting in traffic, if someone else is driving erratically or whatever is going to ruin your day, you're giving them the power of your day. But if you can
Yeah.
sit and go, okay, woof, guess they're in a hurry or some shit, like it just turns it around and they don't have the power to like take you down in the same way
Yeah.
or
Exactly.
any external factor for that matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so this new moon, the energy patterns, Uranus opposes the new moon and the Mercury retrograde. And what is it? A wake up call, both psychological and spiritual. So we're needing to get into that level of consciousness where we operate on a moment to moment basis instead of old conditioning and patterning and start trusting ourselves in the moment.
Hmm.
And so, you know, we'll get sudden insights, revelations, or disruptions that break open what's been suppressed. So, there's another metaphor available there somewheres. So our suppressions are what makes us uh, get emotional because we've been suppressing something. Whatever gets suppressed must come out in another person. And when
Hmm.
it comes out in another person, it's always worse.
Hmm. I mean, to go on again on this road rage example, it's like if someone cuts you off and it makes you so mad and you're just like fuming, where did that start? Like, where did you first feel disrespected in your life? Like, those are the kind of things I start thinking about now, too. When something triggers me and it's just like I'm such a short fuse about it, it's probably because it's showing me something like you were saying in the beginning of the podcast. Every relationship is such a mirror for us. But like maybe you felt disrespected through, I don't know, your 20s or something, or your childhood or whatever it was, and you have not been living out in a way that has changed that narrative within you. then you're going to keep bumping up against people cutting you off and people disrespecting you and all that stuff until you get that right within yourself. It has nothing to do. They're just the catalyst. Like they're just the thing here to show you that.
And that's perfect. And I mean, this is the second to last statement in there. Buried feelings erupt for healing.
Yeah.
So you become emotional based upon an old feeling that you have now suppressed internally, and now it's being brought up so you can heal it. So when you get that road rage and you experience that emotion, this is your opportunity to heal that by going through the process that you laid out.
That makes sense to me.
Liberation from fear or control, releasing old trauma patterns, especially around intimacy, money, and trust.
Mm.
That's the final new moon truth.
So this is for basically all of November, right? Or this is for November. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because that's the new moon in Scorpio.
Right.
So that's part of November and some of December.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering that. Okay.
Because this is the Scorpio new moon. It's not even going to be until November 20th.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you won't even be out of the new moon until 4 or 5 days into December.
Mm.
And so you're going to be dealing with this next month.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've really got to face all of our patterns of trust and guilt and doubt and shame and judgment. There are no fears. Release the fears. Release all of these intimacy issues that you're bumping up against another person, and realizing they are your teachers. They're helping you.
Mm-hmm.
And you just go through the process of what you defined, which was perfect, of that driver that cut you off.
Mm-hmm.
What is this showing me? What is this teaching me? Did I have skin in the game? Did I not have skin in the game? Did I do this on purpose? Did I not do this this is the way I want to react?
It's a lot of
Is there a better way to react?
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
That's the process.
Yeah. I was going to say, this feels like an interesting, I mean, it's not ever surprising, but it's a good wrap up of the year in a way to start inventorying some of our behaviors and the things that are impacting us and really be reflective on that. It's not technically the end of the year astrologically, I know, but like, I think because of the way we operate, sometimes we do start to get a little more reflective at this time of year, and you really can start looking at what you want to bring into the new year and what you want to release and let go and leave in the past.
Well, we're only a month away from the winter solstice, which is exactly defining what the winter solstice is about.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
And think about what I said about till March.
What's till March?
Undo beliefs. Undo your old beliefs, your patterns that do not work, and don't form any new ones, because you don't know all what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, we're not there.
And that's the Jupiter retrograde message until March.
Well, all right.
All right.
Review and reflect, everyone. Marv, if people want to know what's going on specifically for them, I always say it's a really good thing to have their own birth chart read and do a session with you. So where would they find you if they want to do that?
At Marv at astromarv.com.
Marv at astromarv.com. Yeah.
Right.
Marvin. Oh, you have both.
Yeah.
I think I always do Marvin. Marvin at astromarv.com. I'll put that in the description of the podcast for you guys in case we were just
astromarv.com.
Yes, that's your website, astromarv.com. All of that.
Or if they really want the full picture of me, they can go to soulfusionhealing.com.
Okay, Soul Fusion
That's
Healing.
a wonderful website.
And your book is Soul Fusion Healing as well.
Book.
So again, a lot of information for you guys. So I'll put it in the description of this podcast to make sure we didn't just confuse the hell out of you with all of that. But Go check that out. Go do a session with Marv. That would actually be such a good Christmas gift to give people. So if you have a friend that's interested or anything like that, I always love gifting people sessions with Marv. It's like an interesting gift and nobody thinks of it. So an astrology session is always a good way to go. So anyway, thank you, Marv, for being here with us. And we'll report back in December and see how November went.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thank you guys for listening.